Miguel hesitates over a single text message for 20 minutes, drafting and deleting the same 3 sentences until the screen dims. He once stayed in a romantic relationship for an entire year after he wanted to leave, purely because he couldn't bear the thought of causing his partner any pain. This constant accommodation masks a paralyzing cycle of anxiety. Miguel is following a strict command he likely doesn't even know he has. This unwritten rule dictates that he is never allowed to make anyone else feel bad. This behavior represents a desperate attempt to manage the emotional state of an entire room. It is a strategy that ultimately destroys his own peace. This drive to placate others often begins in childhood. Dr. Milan and Kay Yurkovich identified this specific behavioral pattern as the pleaser. The archetype usually forms in a home with a parent who is either fiercely overprotective or highly reactive and prone to anger. The child learns to monitor the room's atmosphere, meticulously managing the adult's mood to prevent a negative response. This child spends their energy providing comfort to the adults around them, reversing the natural dynamic where the child is the one receiving care. Adult people-pleasing is a survival mechanism from childhood, an old strategy running on an infinite loop. Years later, that old programming activates during a simple social dilemma. At a party, Miguel's friends split up, and he immediately begins to panic. This panic is driven by catastrophizing. One small decision branches out into a complex web of predicted disasters. The brain predicts total disaster if even one person is disappointed, imagining that a single no will lead to permanent social rejection. Catastrophizing acts as a mental wall, shielding the pleaser from any experience of social risk or uncertainty. Attempting to eliminate the risk of causing discomfort guarantees long-term depression and chronic anxiety. Breaking this cycle requires a skill called cognitive diffusion. These glasses represent our thoughts. They're the lens we use to view the world. Diffusion means taking the glasses off. You stop looking through your thoughts and start looking at them. The brain is a word machine that generates worst-case scenarios constantly. These scenarios are thoughts, not facts. You now have the power to observe a terrifying thought without automatically buying into the panic it generates. Creating distance between your identity and these automatic thoughts stops the impulse to react to imaginary emotional catastrophes. This behavioral shift is often called the let them theory. It provides a framework for radical acceptance. First, you must relinquish the illusion of control. You cannot guarantee that someone won't be mad at you. If they are, let them be mad. Second, you must separate your identity from the sudden feeling of guilt and begin forming boundaries based on your own values. Miguel now operates from a baseline of being kind but assertive. He no longer feels responsible for managing the emotional state of every person at the party. Reclaiming your energy requires you to drop the burden of control. Let them misunderstand you. Let them be disappointed. Focus instead on living the life you actually value.